for the first time ever, I've reached a stage where I've seen women attracted to me. In the past, no. Ever since I was probably a kid, 8 years old, was the last time I had that sort of look, that sort of attraction towards me. And I've noticed that people are different in different ways. Like, there's some negative parts of being attractive in some cases. So I think the best I've done is about an 8 out of 10 somehow. I don't know, it's a miracle. But I'm usually around like a 7 out of 10 or a 6. And I didn't know how it felt like. I didn't know how it felt. I didn't know what I was going to be treated to and what complexities that I'd need to deal with. What's the bad sides and what's the realistic. So I noticed that people, they look at you. You know, people look at you more often and they smile even though nothing's happening. And you start to believe in yourself more when you are, you know, attractive. Or usually the ones that are extremely attractive, there's too many more disadvantages than there is advantages. So these people usually they look better than they are. So many times they're not actually really good at what they're doing. So like maybe they're doing sport, they're not really good at it, but they are given validation as if they're so good at whatever that they're doing. Now, when you're like kind of attractive, what I've seen and what I've felt is you are given the benefits, yet you're not like pumped up too much to the point where you think you're good at everything and you can do anything. And I wish this was the default. I wish even when I was not at this stage, I was getting, you know, validation and help and feeling like hope that I can become better. But hope was very, very low. You know, maybe no one believes in you. And the story is, I had a family relative coming over to my home. Now, I'm not used to this kind of things because I'm not used to someone staying at my home for really long, and I feel happy, I feel excited that someone is coming around, and you know, we're sharing our time together. We're kind of family friends actually. And so it's good to have a circle, you know, a very close circle that you spend time with, you know, you have breakfast with, and it's not like a holiday, because I was used to the holiday aspect of everything. So she was coming with her mum, and she was planning to, and she did, study law, and she was already studying law. She was just coming to do masters, and we were happy to have her as a guest. You know, everybody has different reasons. One crucial thing I've learned is that everyone has different reasons as to why they do something. And for me, I still have a hard time now to understand and grasp that people don't have similar feelings and similar intentions as me when they're doing the same thing. So such as having dinner, such as coming over, such as maybe playing a sport, playing golf. I don't do that personally, but I'm just noting that down. This is how it is, so that's what I'm used to. So I'm not assuming that this person is there for something else, or they have like an agenda that they want to put out. Everyone has an agenda usually, but I'm not expecting someone to put their agenda at the forefront of what they do, you know. Now I wanted to put this on here because it's been a massive change of perspective for me. I've never been at a point where I'm sought after of the opposite gender, women, and I'm sure there's a lot of women that are like in a similar boat where they're not interest. Like nobody's interested in them either. Although it's less. With guys, it's more often. If you're average looking, then less women are going to be a lot less. Maybe like once a year or maybe once every few years. But with women, it's not like that. Even if you're a 3 out of 10, you might have chances. So I wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to the chances. I wasn't used to somebody giving me a sort of like not chasing after me, but wanting me. And I didn't clock it at first. I didn't realize at first. I was more focused on just being happy that there's someone. It feels nice. Actually, when she was with me, I felt like she was an older sister to me. That's how it felt like. It's just my sister. Or like a cousin at first. But more as the vibes went on, I felt like this person's more like my sister than a cousin, Anyway, she came over and I realized later on, there was a few instances that made it clear that this person's not here for just to be friends. They want you to chase you. Women tend to, I'm not talking all of them, but there's definitely 100%, a big category, like maybe 40-70% of women. They try to get the guy to chase them, whoever that they fancy. Women, much more than guys, they are not open. They don't tell their feelings. They're not upfront, unless they may be at a bar, at a club. But if you're like a friend, or if you're like a family friend or whatnot, then you're not going to be approached and be like communicated directly. And so you have to be adaptive, and you have to know what's the game like and how you should position yourself, because they're playing a game. Even though you're not playing a game, you might be just chilling. They have like rules, and there's kind of dynamics that affect you that they are playing. It's like a dance or like a game. They're playing it, and you don't realize that you are inside the game. What I did is I didn't partake in it, but I realized later on. Like much later on, about 2 years has passed. That's when I realized. This happened about 3 years ago. It started. Until a year ago it stopped. And I moved away from that situation. What happened was, in my case, she was not interested in me, and it's like she didn't say that, but made it kind of apparent, and there was a lot of assumptions on me. So what I did to defend my assumptions, like my family would tell her that I'm such a good guy, that I'm this, I'm that, I'm very smart, very, very intelligent. Even if I am, I don't think it's like natural to brag about. It doesn't feel natural to me. There's no sense of self if I am what I show. So like if I have £5 million, I'm not £5 million, I'm a person. So same case with being smart or relative. So in this case, I was confused. I was confused, and I didn't clock it at first. I didn't clock it. I didn't realize that this person was pushing away so that I pull in, and it's a tactic that they use, one that I wasn't familiar with, because it just felt strange to me. There would be some signs and there wouldn't be some signs. So there was no flirting going on until all the way at the end. At the end, there was some flirting where they ask you to do something, and they ask you to have like dinner with them and invite you to spend some time with them, even though you haven't spent, you're not that close. You're friends and you're like kind of sister and brother, you're like cousins. But a woman asking a man to have dinner and come to their home, and it's like very, very personal. It's not only cousins. What they tend to do, what I'm used to, is you spend time together. You go to an ice rink, you go ice skating, that's cool. That doesn't mean someone is interested in you romantically or anything. But this was more in a personal setting, and more we're having dinner together. And when my family and them was having dinner together, even that didn't make me realize that I was being a contender in the game. So we would have dinner, and things for me, it just seems natural, like, two families chilling. We're all like we were friends, and then we become like a nice family, and just that's how it feels like for me. But I realized the small touches that they do. So they try to introduce their other daughter, and it's like almost like an exchange. When you go to Facebook Marketplace and you pick out a car that maybe you're interested in, maybe whatever it might be, maybe a bike, and you test ride it, or you kind of meet together, you talk about the car, you say this is when it was insured, blah blah blah, you give information on it, and that's pretty much how it rolls. So when that happened, let me just turn on the heaters a bit. When that happened, I just thought they are being welcoming, because in our tradition, that's how it usually is. But the introduction of what they are doing, so for example, what her daughter's doing, what she's studying, what she does in her free time, for me, it was like, this is weird. Like, my cousin wouldn't talk, about this. None of my cousins would, when I was with them, talk about, in my free time, I play tennis. It felt like, when you talk to someone and you get to know someone and you're kind of dating. It might be a date or might be kind of dating. That's how it was like. You're trying to get as much information as possible to see if this person's a good candidate. And to see if any sparks arises, blah blah blah. And it's more like a drama show. You're put into a theatre and you just sort of play along, and you don't even realize that you're in a drama show or a theatre until the romance and the obvious flirting become true. And they're very, very, very reserved with that. When they're actually looking for someone that is like a marriage, what's it called? Contender, marriage potential. They have that sort of thing where they don't do obvious flirting. It's not like when you go on a night out, you're obviously flirting. I find you really attractive. Wow, your hair's really nice. You're hot. I'd consider you hot, and they kind of like say that in like tough way, where they do like a dare, and in the dare you pretty much have to admit that you find someone attractive and whatever. That's the sort of things that would happen in like casual stuff. So I wasn't used to this whatsoever. I've seen the casual here and there, and I haven't been much part of it, still haven't now. But this was the first time I've been in kind of a marriage prospect game, and I wasn't used to it. Like, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and me being natural was obviously better in terms of they would want me to be natural so that they can see if I'm a good fit or not. But I didn't realize that I'm inside this, so I think that's wrong, because I'm not realizing that these people are trying to get something going, This woman was toxic. She was, I think, about 28 years old, 28, 26, so about 2, 3, 4 years older than me. And it's relatively normal That's all right. It's just her lifestyle, the way that she talked, the way that what she prioritized. She prioritized, only flying in one airlines, being very, very picky on what to buy, and she would buy very often things that she doesn't need. She would consume a lot. She would purchase a lot of things. She would have very high expectations of guys around her and always ask for help. She would never try to do it autonomously by herself. Massive red flags. Because somebody have to be not only good to be alone, but also fine with resolving their own issues and trying to resolve them before you ask for help. She wouldn't be like that. Massive red flags. And the way that she talked, the way that she looked for a job, massive red flags. So here's the part that goes into the flirting. She I've said this in a prior video, but I haven't. I'll say it again. She took pictures, professional pictures she was staying at mine at the time, and she went with her mum and my mum. Like, it was just a weird atmosphere, and she went to a professional photographer, took pictures and put it on LinkedIn in order to have a better chance of getting a job, and getting a good job as well. She got no job, surprise, especially in law. It's not like Turkey. They think it's like Turkey where you can manipulate your way in, as of course here you can do that as well, but it's not as open as like that. You need to be more in the company to be able to manipulate your way in here. Whereas in Turkey, as long as you have some money, as long as you're really good, good looking on the outside, you seem like, then of course you're going to be favored. In Turkey it's like that. And that's how it was. So that was massive red flag for me. And she showed, the flirting part is she showed me the picture, and she was very, very shy about it. She's like, oh, you're gonna laugh at me, you're gonna think it's funny, like one of my family relatives would, like one of my cousins would. You would also laugh about it, so I'm not gonna show it to you. I'm like, just show it. Like, why does it matter whatsoever? And I kind of backed off at the end. I was like, all right, whatever, I don't give a fuck if you show it or not. I didn't say that, but that's how I had, that's what was my attitude. And she showed it, like in a shy way. And when she shows that she's shy, she's not actually shy. That's bullshit, let me tell you that. In this kind of scenario, she's not shy. She's playing shy, she's playing dumb, but it's not. It's like for her, it's, in her perspective, it's like a game. It's like a show off, but you don't want to be overtly showing off what you have. So she's trying to show like her potential of how good looking I can be, how open, like I'm gonna have some extravagantly open clothes, and I'm gonna be very sexy. And that's what's going to get you to pull in, because in this kind of person's perspective, they believe, especially, and I'm talking more in women's perspective, when they're like a 4 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, and they get validation from 30 and above men. Okay, they just walk down the street, they get validation from these kinds of people. And just because, by the way, the validation that they get is these guys, 99% of them, most of them, 90% of them, don't want to spend time with her, don't want to go on holiday with her. Like, maybe holiday, okay, but not want to have personal connection with her. They don't want to go out, cinema, golfing. They don't want to do that. They want to be in bed with her. That's the reason why they're giving validation. And she's translating that into, I'm good looking, like people want me then, right? Because if they're giving me attention, then it means people want me. It means my SMV, so sexual market value, is, if you haven't heard of it, is higher, much higher than what it actually is. So it might be a 4 out of 10, but she thinks she's a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Hell, even some of them think they're a 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10 because they're not a celebrity. Maybe then that's when they would give a 10 out of 10, but I'm rushing my talking right now. But that's when they would say maybe a 10 out of 10, delusional. But in this case, it was more like she thinks she's a 8 out of 10. She genuinely, honest to God, she thinks she's an 8 out of 10. She's like, from the bottom of my heart, bottom of my brain, from my perspective, my mind, she's a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Okay, maybe in bed, looking like, seeming like, probably a 7 out of 10. But just as a person, you're going to be with a person, you're going to spend time with a person, you're going to be just connected as a friend, as a cousin, as a romance. It's like a 4 out of 10. And for me, it's not even a 4 out of 10, probably like a 2 out of 10. So it's like, I don't give a single flying fuck, if you have money, if you're gonna do this and you're gonna do that, and we're gonna go to Dubai, let's say, if we were to, I don't give a single flying fuck. I don't care. I'm not the type of guy, I know there is many guys, many, probably like 80% of them, that would love to go to bed. Fantastic. I'm just not interested, because I know that it's nice to go to bed with a woman that is like okay and seems like I would do her, but it doesn't feel good in me. Like, I don't feel like myself, and I feel detaching from myself. I feel hollow. Like, it happens because I've done it before. It happens, and after it happens, you're just like, what was that? Post-nut clarity, pretty much, kind of like it, where you're like, this doesn't mean anything to me, actually. I just wanted to finish. That's one of the main reasons why I'm here. Otherwise, I don't care. You like ice cream or you don't like ice cream, you want to talk about TV shows or not, I don't give a flying fuck, because there's nothing going on between you and me. So that's why connection is so crucial. You need to be able to be picky with connection, and be open to it as well. These people, I was open to it, like that's how I was by default, and I realized that this person, there's no connection going on, because in their perspective, they're not looking for connection. They are looking for, how can I get this guy to be with me? How can I get him to mold, when they like dress up Ken, or they dress up Barbie dolls and like male dolls, that's what they want. They want a yes man. They want somebody to say, yes, I'll do that for you, no problem. If you need help here, you need to be like a superhero for them. And you need to be a certain look, certain swagger, certain, so they can show off to their friends. That's what they care about. There's nothing going on there. They're not looking for anything. And when I realized this later on, I just wanted to get the fuck out of any relations with them. I already knew some bad things that I will mention on this video with my family, that I knew that they are not authentic. Some members of my family, definitely. And so I knew that this links with this case. So when I moved away not only from my parents, but also from this situation, this kind of people. And when I moved away, about 6 months later, they rang me up. Actually, they rang my dad up. They're also so like covert. They're not very, as I said before, they're not very straightforward and direct. They're very covert all the time. They operate covert, these kinds of people. So they talk to my dad, and my dad tells me afterwards and they have conversations, you know, they're like in touch, you know, so they're like a team. That's how they try to be. And on one of the occasions, they talk to my dad, and they say that actually even her mum was, in that case, her mum didn't call him. The woman called him. I almost just said her name, that's why I just... and she called my dad. She told him that she needs help with something, and that she wants me to help her with it. From the get-go. There's no like, maybe you know about it. No, it's like, I want this person. Not only because, oh, this person. And by the way, it was to just make an account on her SIM. To go on the website, make an account, and press purchase. That's the only thing that you need to do. So I was summoned, basically, and my dad told me that she wanted me to go there and fix her SIM for her, and to fix, basically put in her phone, create an account, put her credit card, and boom, that's it. Just start using it, the SIM. And I'm like, I'm not a hotel butler, you know, I'm not going to go around doing this shit for people. And in that case, it wasn't hotel butler. It wasn't like they're trying to use me, really. It was more about, let me get to see you, let me get to spend a little bit of time with you, we'll talk a bit, let's see if we connect. And she might try to flirt in that case, because she flirted before, and in this case she might do it again. So that's the main reason why. Not only because someone would use me, that's disrespectful. Like, even if you're my family friend, I can tell you from the phone, but I'm not going to come all the way to you. By the way, it was like 50 miles, 30 miles just to go there, and then come back is another like 30 miles or so. So total like 60, 70 miles just to do that basic shit. You can do that over the phone. So I rejected politely. But to my dad, I was ruthless. I just said whatever I think. I just said that I don't have any care, and that's not something that I want to do. Full stop. And that bothered me. Things about like that bother me, because she was always asking my dad to do stuff for her when she was there, and it was the most basic shit, like just crazy shit all the fucking time. Help me with this, help me with that. One time I helped her with finding a place in London, I could say that, and to find somewhere good for the price. So she wanted a bigger place, that's why she was unsatisfied. And I already got her like the best location in London. I'm like, you're not going to get a bigger place for this price. There's no chance. You might be like a princess or a queen in Istanbul, but you're nobody with the income that you have here. That's how it is. You have to be fucking realistic, because if you're not, then you're just spoiled. You're just like a kid. You get to run around like Cinderella. Everyone's supposed to lick your ass. Salesman's supposed to be like, yeah, no problem, we'll do that for you. No, it's not like that. Life is not like that, you know. And it's disrespectful for the people that you call family or friends to be so picky, as if you know the market. You don't know the market. I know the market. If I'm trying to help you, if we're friends, then fucking follow my advice. And I've lived there for all my life, so I know the market like the back of my hand. Like, compared myself to my dad, it's not comparable. You know, I found so many options, and I was just fed up. Like, I would just, because I had a lot going on at the time as well, like with my parents, and I was planning to move out, and I didn't know how to move out. I didn't know how to get out of that situation. So it was extreme amount of pressure to that's actually after I moved out, but extreme amount of pressure. I needed to clean the home. It was my first time. I needed to cook for myself, cook for my dad as well, do the groceries, put petrol in the car. I wasn't really used to that because I had an electric car before. There was just so many things. You know, did the flooring of the bedroom, had to talk to the guys, make sure things are done right. Went through the selecting process on materials, and I did most of the work there as well. It's just a fucking headache. Like, you know, I became a dad at that age. I'm proud of myself, but the problem is there's no peace, man. You need peace. Doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter what level of maturity you are. Everybody in this world, at some points when they are having a massive transition, they need a bit of peace, you know. Let the guy be himself. Let him chill a bit, because massive radical changes. And you're like, do everything for me, you know. Who am I? I'm some sort of super soldier or some shit like that. So, yeah, this kind of things I need to point out, because there has to be some sort of clarity on things that are so just flung out there. I'm seeing a lot of YouTube videos that people are talking about dating, people are talking about high value man and a low value woman, and a high value woman and a low value man, and this red pill, blue pill, that pill, this pill. It's like they are so extremely generalized that I need more people's stories than you talking about topics as if you're like a master or something, or as if you're like the expert, and at the same time you're not going into the complexity. You're just saying, if you want a high value man, you need to be more feminine, for example. That's just so basic. You know, what the fuck does that mean? So stories give you a better outlook on what's relative. So for example, mine was perspective. In my perspective, something's happening, so we're friends, we're family, we're spending a bit of time, you're a guest, we're chilling, really nice to have some people around and be close and not like be on a holiday. And then there is other people's perspectives where they're looking for games, they're looking for marriage, they're looking for to settle down, they're looking for a certain lifestyle. You know, that was going on as well. It's mental, because I'm already living my life. I already have a lot of headaches. I already need to be on my own. I need to have some peace. I need to work on my own projects. I need to start making money. I need to start learning courses. I need to learn about the topics that I'm interested in and learn what's missing, what's really good, what's really interesting. And this shit takes time. You need some mental clarity, you need some peace to do this. And you need to be good at managing money, you need to be good at managing problems. It's a headache. It's a headache. You can't be thinking about somebody, you know, trying to settle down whilst you're trying to fucking survive. There is a massive difference. There is a massive difference, and these people, they're ruthless. They don't really give two fucks about how you are feeling, what's going on with you, what's your life perspective, nothing. They're just like, I'm out there to get something. I want something. So this is how I'm going to try to get it. I don't care how you feel. I don't care what's going on with you. It's brutal. And that was the reality that I faced with. I faced with people not giving a fuck about you, and they are right next to you. You know, they live in the same home, they live in the same area, they have close contact with your parents, and they don't actually give a fuck about you. They care about what they want, their own validation, you know, their own system, their own beliefs, their own agenda, their own thoughts are important. You're not very important. You know, who are you? And at the same time, they want you to comply. They want you to play the game. They want you to chase them. Don't fucking chase them. You know, you're chasing ghosts. You're chasing people that aren't there, that are pretending to be there, that are pretending to have a certain lifestyle, a certain sexual market value. They're pretending to like certain things that they don't like just to look good. look a certain way. So what points to a high value person, man or woman, is somebody that knows and is in touch with themselves. Okay, that's one of them. Is someone that can say honestly what they think. Somebody that can be, when the time's right, obviously, not 100% all the time honest, but, able to be grounded, able to be honest, open, and able to be direct, not fucking covert all the time. Hiding around, hiding in the bushes. They're looking for you. They're looking for targets. It's like, be open, Hell, even if you said to me, look, I've been in bed with this many guys at this time, but I'm interested in getting to know you. I want to see if there's something going on. And, maybe there's a future for us. Maybe we can live together for a bit and see how it goes. That's what I would be interested in. But these people, they're not like that. They're not built like that. So it's very, very consumerism. It's very, very self-centered and egotistical. And I'm not about that life. I'm not about those people. I can't accept that kind of shit in my life. I'm sick of it. Sick of it for death. That's why I left. That's why I started my own shit. And I don't care where the fuck I end up. I don't care if I end up homeless. I don't care if I'm, alone, because I'm enough. I am enough. I'm enough to make the problems solve. I'll try my hardest, and I'll be glad even if I, mess up 100 times, I'll be glad I'm at least myself. I don't give a fuck about pleasing nobody at this point. The biggest degradation someone, a man or a woman, can do to themselves is pleasing, constant pleasing. Massive degradation of the oneself. You become a toolbox. You become a doll, a Ken doll, a Barbie doll. And they want to assert whatever life, whatever orientation they are onto you, Fuck that life. I tell you that 100%, fuck that life. I'm not about that. Never been about that. And I've had a hard time to stay grounded. I've had a hard time to assert myself and say, this is my boundaries, this is me. I don't give a fuck about, and playing the game with you. I'm not going to play no game with you, I think the difference between me and who I was when I was 22, 21 is, instead of saying covertly I wouldn't comply with them, now openly I don't comply with them. And I have a different life. I have a different, very, very different mindset, and not very different mindset actually, no. Just I've evolved a lot. I've evolved a lot, and probably I'll look back at this and evolve again. But it's good to see that you're progressing. It's good to see you look a month back and you cringe at yourself. You think, I could have handled it in this way, that way, because it's okay to fail. I was brought up in a way where failure is it's like a cost that you can't repair. It's they're allergic to failure. Yeah, and it makes you also be very, very self-conscious about failing. Fail. Who the fuck cares? You're born into a world that doesn't fucking make sense. Fail. Failure is part of life. Failure is part of nature. When a tree's branches break, it doesn't cease to exist. It just grows back more branches and repairs itself. Your environment, water, sunlight is important. These people are not that. They are the darkness. They are the black hole in your life, and they try to suck out whatever that they can. These kind of women in this case, they they have a drive, they have a mission, and you might not realize it. Like, I'm still having a hard time learning this and being aware of other people having different perspectives and different drives, different needs, different outlooks and feelings compared to me. Of course, logically, people are going to have different outlooks and different feelings, but these people are very radical. They're very, very extreme in their cases. They're very, very tunnel vision. You know, the best way to describe it is tunnel vision. They got one fucking vision. You might be open like this way, this much, right? They are tunnel vision. They don't look at shit around them. There's nothing going on around them. They look at themselves and they say, I'm the center of everything. I'm the center of this whole shit, this whole shebang. And I'm going to decide who's going to eat what, who's going to look in what direction, who's going to be my boyfriend, girlfriend, who's going to be my aunt, my cousin, my friends. And it's just like, what is this? You know, it's not like even main character syndrome. It's like main character is kind of good thing in each of our lives. Really, really good things. I've seen the benefits. And I know overall it's good. But this is not like that. This is like, I'm the center of everything. Like I want everything, and it's immaturity. They just start crying. They start being covert. They start being. It's never the true self. Never. One mask slips off. Another one they put on. Another one they put on. Another one they put on, and it's a never-ending game. This is the game that you need to get the fuck out of. If you fall into this trap, try to like remember this, put this in mind, and don't give your time and energy to everyone. I'd recommend try to protect yourself, protect your soul, protect your mind, protect your looks, protect your habits, your routines. Routines are very, very crucial. These people don't want you to fall into your own fucking routine. They want their routine. Their specific time that they want you to wake up at, their specific energy moods and what you need to do, their specific tasks. You know, they give you tasks all the time. You need to go at this time here, and at this time I want you to do this with me, and at this time I want you to wake up and go to this person's house because we need to cry about the relative that they lost. It's like, what is this? You know, it's poison. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Long video, I know. But this was really important to me, and hopefully it's important. Like, it's some value to someone else, and they can actually see and understand that there is many, many women that aren't there for your for you and for your future and for your feelings. You know, what attributes that you have. A person that cares about you looks at your strengths and weaknesses and tries to give you good, you know, chances with your strengths and weaknesses. These people, they don't give a fuck about chances. They're like, what's my chance? What do I want? Whatever they want is they try to put it onto you. You know, you're not important. Your outlook is not important. Your feelings, you know, your perspective is not important. And when you realize this, when you realize that they're not valuing your perspective, you realize that this person, girlfriend, boyfriend, you know, marriage, cousins, friends, you realize that this person, not good for your life. Thanks for watching.